Yeah.
Online, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now the people will come to your link. Don't worry. You can cast on.
Okay. So I don't see anyone in the link. Huh?
Right. They will be coming now. I have already shared them.
Okay. That's one guy already. Okay.
Okay, he's coming. They are coming, of course.
Okay.
I share this in my WhatsApp group as well.
Okay.
It is well. Right.
Hi guys. I'm sorry, there was a delay because of the technology and things like that. But we'll try to make this particular thing in as much as possible in a session where we will try to understand what we are going to talk about and how we are going to continue this online session. Right? I'm sorry about it's being the second day. I also didn't know in this particular technology, so I'm sorry about it. But let's have useful and meaningful discussion. See, I have been sent you all the details, right? Now, all the presentations and things like that, right? Sometimes you would have been gone through it, but now let's now look at the first half an hour of today's discussion on motivation theories, right? When you talk about the motivation theories, there are plenty of theories. You, if you go to internet, right, all the things what I'm going to talk, what I'm talking today is in the net, right? All the samples, examples, and things like that I have taken from the net. So you don't need to actually, all these things are easy to refer from the internet for you to understand much better because there were a lot of examples given on that, right? Now, when you look at motivation per se, motivation is kind of, how it is defined is an internal and external factor which stimulates each and every person to achieve something, their goals or their objectives, their ideas, their interest, or whatever it is. Right now, say, take for instance, for anything and everything, we have something to achieve or something we like to be. Now, say, take for instance, you are going to buy a shirt or a frock in a particular shop. Okay. Now, when you think of buying a shop in a particular shop, you may be thinking that you are going for a party or you are going in for a wedding, you're going for in a specific function. So to fulfill that particular need, you're going to buy a dress. I mean, for any special functions, we do that. Now take for instance, you think that you're going for a friend's place next door. So you don't know, look at going and buying a new t-shirt or a new shirt or a new frock, right? You may wear what is available or what is, I mean, it's just on the rack. Because beyond that, there is no motivation for you to go and spend money, spend time, spend efforts. But when it comes to a particular function, it is not that. So in each and every instance in your life, you are motivated by the results or motivated by the satisfaction what you are going to have. This satisfaction or in this particular the satisfaction can be internal or external. Internal means something you do it and you cook something, you want to cook something, and you go and give these what you cooked to somebody else. That fellow says no, it's very tasty. That happiness what you feel right now, the reward for your effort is not external. They are not going to give you money, they are not going to give you a gift or whatever it is, but that word makes you much happy. Kind of things is known as the internal motivation. External motivations are very much of we call it explicit, right? You are given a something in front of others, you are praised, you are rewarded something like that. It can be monetary, it can be anything, it can be a gift and things like that. So fundamentally, when you look at motivation, that has two parts. One is internal, one is external. You are satisfied on your own You are satisfied by something given to you. Now, in that sense, when you look at motivation, also that is one way of looking at, right? That is, people give you the internal and external motivation. On the other hand, motivation can be a decision making process also, because that chooses your motivation. Actually, your motivation only chooses a particular path. How much money you're going to put in it, how much efforts you're going to put in it, but the time it is going to take it based on the reward you're going to get in. So through which the individual chooses the desired outcomes and sets in motion a behavior. So when you look at that, you start behaving in a particular manner, right? Now you take for instance, right? All of us, right? All whether it's lectures, whether students or all of us, have gone through a class and sat there and studied and lectured and all those things for last 1.5 to 2 years in this particular say. Today, the situation is giving you a some different opportunity or different compulsion on us to do this particular study online. Even to do online, you have to take a particular interest. I have to take an interest on that. Maybe that you think when you do that, that will give you a particular opportunity to pass the examination or learn, update your knowledge, update your understanding of what you're supposed to know. That is the motivation happens now there. So that allows you to work on a particular behavior, logging in, waiting for this, going through this particular hassle, and everything happens because of that. Now, when we look at the motivation, there are lot of the importance when it comes to organizational sense, or even in a private sense, a personal sense. Why this motivation is important is it brings you high efficiency. Right now, you start improving yourself just to satisfy you. It's not necessary you're going to get a better money or things like that, but no, still you think that being much better than this. I mean, we all look at, right? No, tomorrow it should be a better day, something like that. So high efficiency is one area. But image, right? You look at, I mean, you are dressed well, so you are willing to go to a particular salon, cut your hair. I mean, put up makeup to go for a wedding. So that particular type of image you can talk about. Or when you are educated, when you have a degree, when you get a good job, or when you start your own business in your society, that your image is going up. That is one importance of motivation. And one of the key things, it facilitates change, because you look at the environment is changing, your family, your business environment, your education environment, right? Now, so today, tomorrow, you may join an organization, you may get promoted, right? All that is going to happen in your life. When the motivate now, say when you organize, when you're joined an organization, when you see that the people are much better than doing it much better than you, or you join as a clerk, or you join as a flow in a worker, but you want to become a manager, you want to become a director, then you think that you'll have a better car for you, right? Now you have a better facility, better salaries, you can travel the world. For that particular thing, you start facilitating change. Think like a manager, act like a manager, functions now like a manager. So the motivation also is important for a person's life, that facilitates that type of forward changes. Then that also helps you in human relations. How does it happen? Motivation helps you in human relations. We are in an environment, right? We want to have friends around us. We want to have a good relationship in around the people. You don't need to intentionally go and fight, right? But no, there are times, and if you think that things are not happening, you fight. But generally, you want to be like what you all do, generally, laugh loud, be happy, fight with people. All those things become a part of your human relations. And I don't need to tell you, especially when you're students, right? You will have your own jokes and things like that, right? That is the another important part of motivation. So when you talk about the importance of motivation is efficiency. We talk about better image. We talk about facilitating change and also human relations. Now, I already said what is the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is inside you. Sometimes when the people come and say that you have done a job in a well, your boss doesn't need to come and tell you that you are good. Sometimes your neighbor or a friend or somebody doesn't need to come and tell that you are good. You yourself know how much efforts you have put and you have done it well. That will satisfy you. Now, say sometimes even in classes it happens, right? Now, your lecturer or teacher not seen the good work what you have done. It would have happened in school. It would have happened in colleges here. It would have happened in life. So in general, people would have not seen how good you are in some areas. But you know how much you are good. So what happens is when you do something in a better, others doesn't need to come and tell you. You yourself are very happy about it. That is what kind of intrinsic motivation we talk about. This includes general interest. I mean, when you're put in a very challenging position, how do you come out from that, and understanding and meaning and purpose of your life and working towards that, especially on the CSR projects and things like that, people get a lot of intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivations includes famous. You have become famous. Your money, your house, what you have, the car you drive. People see that, right? Your progress or your all your wealth and things like that. People see that right now. He's an educated person. And he's a managing director of a company. He has a BMW car, and all those things comes as extrinsic motivation. Now, when we talk about this extrinsic and intrinsic, you must understand one thing. It is not no one is good and other one is not good. It's not that somebody is 100% motivated by intrinsic methods, not on extrinsic methods, not or vice versa. There are times all of us need intrinsic motivation. There are times we need extrinsic motivation. So depending on the various theories, we will understand how these motivations and what type of motivations and when do we want it, right? But both these things, the motivation theories are practiced in day-to-day activity in any organizations. Now, take for instance in school right now, your parents, right now, when they say, right, if you pass this particular examination, your father would have said, right, I'll buy you a bicycle. When you're in grade 5 or 6, I'll buy you a bicycle. That's a extrinsic motivation, isn't it? When you become the number one in class, before your father or mother say that, I mean, you're very good, you yourself feeling very good that you're beaten all the people. That is intrinsic motivation. So whether you're a kid, whether you're a youth, whether you're a grown up, whether you're an old man, in any situation in your life, any time in your life, this motivation becomes one of the key things to alter your behavior, because the motivation is connected to your uh, behavior only. In the organizational sense, that becomes quite an important activity, right? I'm looking at the positive and the negative motivation. Now, there is one particular slide in your thing, you refer that. Now you look at the external and negative things. Your parents yelling at you, right? Say, reduce your yeah, I'm going to punish you if you don't do this. I mean, you're going to you go inside the house, right? You can't play. That is kind of a worse performance, right? Isn't it? So that is a negative motivation. If you don't do things, you don't get it. That is a negative motivation, negative approach to motivation. When you do things, that you will get something, right? Now, if you complete your homework, then you can go and play with your friend, right? So that is positive and negative motivation we talk about. In an organizational sense, right? It's a family. When you're a kid, you can talk about it. But now from an organizational sense, we talk, if you achieve this particular target, you will get, say, 50,000 rupees. If you don't achieve the target, you don't get it. So when you say you don't get it, that is negative motivation. When you say when you achieve this, you get it, is a positive motivation. So when for people, positive as well as negative motivation works in life. Now you look at for in today's context, we are all at home because there's a curfew. What happens when you go and break a curfew? The police said if you break curfew laws, you go behind bars. You are remanded. Your vehicle will be taken in. And so far, there are about 2,400 people now got arrested up to yesterday. There are about 600 odd vehicles are taken into custody and negative motivation. So that negative motivation may put a certain amount of fear on others. So you look at why I'm quoting this example. These are theories. These theories not formed. Then people started working towards the theories. Same way na. Theories nokkam hadala ඊට පස්සේ මිනිස්සු ඒ theories අනුවට වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. මිනිසුන්ගේ හැටි දැන් හැසිරීම බලලා right or in any particular thing there is a trend has been identified. Those are the things become theories. So this is what when you start looking at examples in and around us, it's easy for you to understand what is negative motivation, what is intrinsic motivation, what is explicit extrinsic motivation, etc., etc. Now, these particular motivation theories are um, divided. If for this particular session or in this particular semester, what you have is divided, or we started looking at these so many theories into two areas. One is the content theory of motivation. Other one is process theory of motivation. Now today we'll be talking only about the content theory of motivation. I'll try to explain all the content theory of motivation. The difference in between these two, fundamentally, content theory talks about what factors motivates people. Okay, it's simply what factors motivates people. When it comes to process theory of motivation, that talks about how people are motivated. That means what motivates and how it motivates. So this is what the content theories and the process theories talk about. So let's now talk about the content theories first. Now content theories, right now for this particular studies, there are four theories we looked at under content theories. One is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Other one is Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. McClelland's needs theory, and Alderfer's ERG theory. I'll try to explain only two this time, and we'll go in for discussion for another session, the other two, right? Then we'll go into the process theories. Now simply when you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so you must be having the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or you would have heard about it, right? I'll show you if you can see this right now. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What it says, there are can you see guys? Okay, now there are levels. It's a hierarchy, it's a triangle. Now this triangle talks in the bottom the physiological needs. Physiological needs are housing, clothing, food, water, basic needs for a person to survive, person to live. The basic needs are known as the physiological needs. It needs your psychology and physics. Right? Then the second level talks about the safety needs. The third level talks about belonging, love and belonging needs. Fourth level talks about esteem needs, which is self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others. People, you want others to respect you. The higher level is the self-actualization. Now let me explain what Maslow is trying to say. In the physiological needs, he talks about when somebody starts his life, or the people who are in the starting level of their life, what they need is to fulfill their basic needs. It can be water, it can be food, it can be clothing and things like that. Now look at most of the guys who are the flow workers or the people who are working for day to day earnings, right? The people make day to day earnings. For them, when they earn their money, they focus on, right, I am going to earn 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees today. I will buy food for my family. I will buy clothing or whatever it is, to fulfill the basic needs. If you give them money to fulfill their basic needs, they are quite happy. They come to your work in every day. It's like your domestics, your plumbers, all those fellows. They work for that. Now, what happens to people now? Say, when you get into a job, when you get into a job you want to stop, taking money, from your parents naturally. But after that, what happens? You want to make your own money. So when you go and you want to buy a small vehicle, or you want to have good food for you. Those are the things you think about initially to fulfill your basic needs. Once you achieve that, when you're growing up in your life, your salary goes up, your other remuneration will go up. When you start going up, you start looking at the safety side of your life. You may need to have an insurance and a cover. Right now, say, they talk about better employment, security. Right now, the things, right now, you want to have the resources, right now, the good family, good health. So you started spending money on your health, go to gym. You started spending money or save money for a future day. Things like that will happen after you achieve the physiological needs. Now, what happens once you have achieved your safety needs? Then you go into this belongingness, love and belongingness. Want to have a better friendship, family, right? Very closer to your wives or husbands or parents or things like that. That is, you want to be part of something big, something close. So once you achieve your safety needs, you can see people moving towards that club going, being with friends, being with the family, and to fall in love, right? Like, get your friends together, all those things. When you're growing, you achieve that also in music. Then you go into your esteem need, achievement, respect of others. Then you think of, right, I want to become a manager. I want to form my own company. I want to have a car. Right, I want to travel abroad. Right, I want to go and see other countries. Those are the esteem needs. You start putting in yourself different than others, or better than others, unique than others. Once you achieve that, we talk about that level as in a self actualization. You want to be a part of problem solving. You start giving advices to others, right? You want to be in a temple dayaka sabha. You want to be in a church, in a committee. You want to be in a club. You want to be the president. You want to be in the committee. You start elevating yourself to be a leader, to give uh, say advice to others and things like that. So if you take Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can it is there is no age barrier. It does not mean that you got to be 20 years to be in the bottom level. Sometimes you can be in your younger days, even you can achieve that self actualization. Right now there are a lot of people whom we have seen. Right now they come up to that pearl levels. People like, if you have heard about Swami Vivekananda, right now, I mean, those are people who achieve that self actualization in much younger age, understanding their life and things like that. Now, say, if you talk about so many people and humans right now, say, you talk about this self-actualization is like in a nirvana we talk about in Buddhism, Lord Buddha. Okay, I mean, they passed all those stages. Right now, I mean, humans are not in that particular level, but they aspire to be in that self-esteem level. So when you look at, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the person has to go through stages based on their needs. This will content them. They will be satisfied with what they achieve, with what they possess, in every level. This is what we talk about. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a content theory. Now, how it happens in an organization, and how it is necessary for an organization. Now, when you go on to say, when you want your sales reps, or when you talk about an organization, or the people who are working in your households, you say maids and things like that, who come in to wash your clothes or sweep the roads and things like that. Now you go and tell them, you look, you do your job well. I'm going to give you a ticket to America. They are not interested in going to America. They are not interested in going and watching a film, cricket match in SSC grounds. They are much interested in providing their family or themselves better clothing and better food. So they are always satisfied with money. So in a very bottom level area, the money motivates them. But you look at somebody who is in the esteem need, who needs that particular prestige, who needs thing. Almost no say these guys will be in the managerial level. So you give them a better car. Okay, if we are doing well, if the organization is doing well, if the division is doing well, you will all of you all get a better car. Because for them, car is not for transport only. It gives you certain amount of prestige. So look, guys, this is how you apply Maslow's hierarchy of needs in our day-to-day working environment. Okay. Any question you have? You can type and send. Right, I will answer. Okay, I prefer to stop. The content here only within the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can refer tomorrow or day after when I send a message, because we have plenty of time on this, because I want you all to understand this very clearly, especially in how we are going to apply in your assessments. Okay, the next 10 minutes, and I will talk about the assessments. Now, I have gone through all your papers, right, on the basic assessments. What you have done, I have gone through all these things, right? See, honestly, if you ask me how you have done, I thought you have done better than what I really expected. You know that this is a open book exercise. So based on the open book exercise, looking at the theories, looking at whatever, at least most of your, because of the time, you would have answered the 2 questions. That's fine with me. But you have answered based on what is there, what is on the theoretical part is absolutely right. But what I want you all to understand is this assessment is not about theory. That is what they confidently say, even if it is open book, you must go through the case and understand. Now I'll give you an example. Now when I talked about, I'm not individually going through. If you want any individual contribution, you give me a call or send me a mail, because I don't want your particular thing to be known by all the other things, right? All the others, right? Now when some of you all know, we have looked at on the first question. The first question talks about goals, objectives, and policies. How you should answer is, when you go through my second presentation, if I remember right, or first presentation, what are the goals? What do you mean by objectives? What do you mean by goals? What are the things in your policies? And we have asked in the question, it is clearly asked, right? The first question is, identify the organizational goals, objectives, and policies, and explain their contribution to effective management in the case study. So what your answer has to be based on the case study, because when you look at the first page, they said, okay, don't worry about it. Now this is for the case study. So your answer is not theoretical. Your answer has to be your examples from the case study test. Now you look at in the exam, even in the assessment on the day of assessment, you're going to have your theories with you. You're going to have the case with you, and you're going to have your questions also with you. How you should answer is, first identify what are the goals. What are the goals of the organization? There are 3 goals they are mentioned, right? Those 3 goals very clearly talks about achieving turnover of 24 million US dollars, having volume growth of 10% for a year on year on local sales, and profit target of 22%. These are the three things very clearly stated as goals of this company. So when they talk about the connection in between goals, actions, and policies, first you have to talk about these three things. Then you look at the plans. How are I going to achieve that? Right? They started looking at so many things. Right now, their company owned and rented places. Then machinery capacity, space, and the people in the capacity, contractual agreement, types and quality, specific types and quality of suppliers. Now all those things are becoming in a very much important. So the local sales and marketing department looking at market and development, market and product development. So they are to achieve that goal of those three major goals. The organization started looking at developing market and product development and penetration plans. So their plans are going to be focused on market development, product development, and penetration plans. Then you look at the activities are going to be based on specific activities and numbers, month on month basis. So the planning is not going to be what they're going to do annually. It is going to be month on month. That is the plan. Then they look at what makes to focus on route to market. How these particular products are going to reach their customers, the route to market. And marketing activities, what is the TV advertisement or whatever it is. Now, when you look at plans, these are the areas they are looking at very specific plans to achieve those goals. So, what is the connection in between the objectives and goals? Objectives, when you put those three things, you can easily say to achieve these objectives, these are the plans the organization is doing. Now, these things, when you look at the slides, that can be consumer goals, that is market share, that can be product goals, new product, it can be quality goals, that can be quality. Then you look at what are the policies. Your policies are coming in on flexible working hours. You are talking about your staff welfare, work-life balance. All those things are going to be the policies in your organization. So they very clearly state they expect you not to talk about theories that much or example outside this particular story. Why you're giving a case study? Because they want you to apply what you learned to this case. That is the purpose of this particular assessment. So you have the case with you. You have in your phones or in your anything right now. You have your materials with you. Look at the material and look for examples in the case. Why they said all five questions. You need only 500 words, but they don't expect you to write pages and pages and pages. This first particular question, if you can finish within a half a page on a point form, that is fantastic. They understand what you are trying to say. The same thing they talk about the second question when you talk about explain formal organization and informal organization through a diagram and explanation from the case. There are two times or two areas when the organization started, formed, right? There was a structure. That means the structure was, there was a guy called what is his name? He started the company. That is Suresh J. He is the managing director or CEO. He had three people under him. Under those guys, there are another few guys, executives and things like that. So if you put the diagram first with the structure, the first part of the part of the question is over. Then when you look at the changes, the diagram will automatically has to change, isn't it? But then they say right now they have taken export marketing manager, they are promoted in a certain